Good morning, good afternoon from a rainy day here in Westport, Connecticut. So today, we're going to talk about seller checklists, but we're also more importantly going to touch on our golden triangle of coaching. That's mindset coaching, performance coaching, and tactical coaching. So what I want to do today is teach you guys the framework on how you can essentially build your own checklists. And of course, we are going to provide you a checklist before someone asks. So what I want to go through is how do we really build this out step by step? And mindset coaching is your ability to learn to think through things differently than you do today. Now, making these lists can be very challenging for some people. And I want to take the time to walk you through doing this so you understand how to do this for this part of your business, let alone anything else. So write these three words down: before, during, and after. These are the three parts of the seller experience. It's what happens before the house goes on the market, while the house goes on the market, and then you, for yourself, want to have a plan after how you stay in touch with clients. Now, remember we talked about marketing and rephrasing things: seller questionnaire, equity protection plan, seller checklist, predictable client experiences. Now, for people to see value in what you have to offer, it's a quantified experience. We always use the Four Seasons and Ritz-Carlton because when you go to these places, you know what you can expect. One of the biggest challenges that clients have with us is they have no idea what to expect, and it happens like we're in an episode of 24 in real time. Hey, we have a photographer on Thursday. Can we meet on Tuesday with the stager? We need to declutter it. By the way, we have this. It's too much. Our ability to be organized is what gives people trust and confidence. And remember, trust and confidence is something that's created through interactions and engagements. So when you're able to share a predictable client experience, now you've taken a business operational list, and you've turned it into a value proposition. When people choose between two agents, when they see how much you obsess over the details, it doesn't matter the experience level you have because you're presenting yourself in a certain way that creates a certain emotion, feeling, and connection with another person. And by the way, for newer agents or the people that say I'm just starting out, there's this weird thing that happens when you become successful. And you know what that is? You forgot what it was like when you got started. You forgot what it's like to fight for your appointment. You forgot what it's like to over prepare. And you just kind of just show up. Hey, I'm Chirag. I have a great track record. Here's this, here's that. But it's like Rocky. It's like when you're hungry, you show up in a very different way. When you have an appointment at a listing and it's your first big listing, you spend hours preparing in ways that you do when you're not successful. And I think the key to success is never losing sight of that hunger. Because believe me, there's always somebody behind you that wants what you have. If you look at our coaching business, 3 years ago, it did not exist. And now there are people leaving every major coaching company that's ever existed for decades longer than us coming here because we're constantly just pushing and pushing and pushing. Look at Compass. 10 years ago, this company didn't exist. Some of these companies existed 70, 80, 90, 100 plus years, and they're not number one compasses. So never underestimate the ability to over prepare and stay hungry. You know, Puff Daddy said the key to this industry and the key to success is treating every project like it's your first. Like it's your first day, you're new on the job, and you're an intern. When you're an intern and you're new somewhere and you want that to be your career, you're willing to do anything. You're all in. Same thing with this. So here's our opportunity. So the first thing I want to do is explain to you again how your brain works. If you write something in the notes section of your phone, it'll process it one way. If you write it in a Google Doc, it'll process it in a different way. If you take a pen and you write it down on a piece of paper, it'll process it in another way. If you put it on a whiteboard, it'll process it another way. When you're making these kinds of operational lists, being a salesperson and an operationally mind person is two completely different things. So you're going to have to learn on how to use your brain differently. Sales in nature is transactional. Operations is big picture thinking. So I encourage you all to get a large Post-it note. And this is another one of the things that I'll tell you, if someone wants to run an accountability group in doing this and collect the names of agents and do something, we'll give everyone that opportunity again in the end. So the first thing you want to do is before. And there is the first section of before, which is what do you do before you meet somebody? Write every single one of those things down. Do you research a property card? Do you check the HOA? Do you verify the square footage? Do you look at old MLS photos? Do you pull the permits, certificate of occupancy? What are all those things you do prior to preparing for an appointment? Do you do the med C? Then do you put the notes in your CRM? Do you create action tests to follow up? Do you send confirmation emails to the people on when the timing and everything else is? These are all things that you want to document every single step in the process. So this will be your first part of the before. What do you do to get prepared for an appointment? You know, a big thing that people do is a lot of people send personalized video notes. But if you write personalized video note and you look at it, you're not going to know what to write or what to say. So when talking about personalized video notes, you're going to want to speak about what goes in the note, the seller appointment confirmation. And it's a good chance to let them know, hey, Tanya, looking forward to meeting you Monday at 5 o'clock. I've taken the time to share with you the benefits of Compass technology in a quick 60-second video, as well as attach a sample written marketing plan and my predictable communication plan. Please review at your leisure and share any questions you have prior to the appointment. And if you've done this after the Med C, looking forward to helping you move to Florida so that you and your wife can have those additional funds to take those vacations you've always dreamed of. Tie it back to their motivations. But if this is not part of your process, you're going to miss it. And so you're going to put all of these on these large Post-it notes and literally go section by section by section. And what's going to happen is when it's on one note, your brain will process it in a silo. When it's across a board and you start looking at it, this is how you look at the entire experience as a whole, and you're able to fill in the pieces. Raise your hand if this makes sense to you. If you want super lists, do this with other people. There is no reason that you have to be limited to your own experiences. And we talked about this yesterday. Our experiences in life and growth are directly related to one word: capacity. All you know in life is your own experiences and what has happened to you and for you, and that's your capacity. If you want to go outside of your capacity, you need to leverage other people. Now, if you start thinking about this, you find another agent that had one little thing to add that could change the whole experience. But now you're literally documenting all this stuff, every email, every text, every confirmation, every time you document something, why, what, how, and all of a sudden you start building a robust system. So now you have all this stuff, you go to the appointment. And what happens after the appointment? Do you send a handwritten thank you note? Do you send copies of the listing disclosures? How do you follow up? Do you send a gift? All of these things are part of your process. There's something that all of us do every single day when we work with people. And the goal is to get it out of your head and operationalize it. Now, the client signs the listing agreement. What do you do then? Do you send copies of the listing agreement? When do you send the equity protection plan? How do you go through it with the people? What goes into the marketing and everything else? Now, that part is finished. Then you get into the next part, the whole marketing aspect of it. Staging, decluttering, doing work, photography, videography, writing the description and everything else. You want to operationalize this list. So when you're sitting with a client, you can now say things like, would it be helpful if I shared our entire predictable client experience so you could see what you essentially get when you partner with us from beginning to end? Because true partnerships have 100% transparency with both parties. They openly share. They want to create clarity through communication. So start writing out your list of what you do. The third part in all this is your pre-launch marketing. And even before that, there's some key meetings you have. Once you're done with all of your marketing assets, meaning the photos, the video, your social assets you make in Marketing Center, your open house assets, your email assets, all of these different things, you'll want to put them in an email all together and share them with the seller and set up a meeting with them to review. I would say, Mary, I have prepared all the marketing based on the visual story that we're going to tell for your home. I've attached everything in this email for you to review. Our goal is that we're in 100% alignment that the visual story of your home, 100% alignment that you feel the visual story that we sell to your home shows your home in the best light and will attract the most buyers possible. When is a good time for us to connect to go through it together? Now, do you know what you're doing here? You're mentally getting them to buy in that this is what's best for them. Because if they look at it and they agree to it, then it saves you hassle down the road. How many times have you put something online and a seller sees a photo or something else and then freaks out because it's on a website and they don't like it? That's not the best way my kitchen shows. That doesn't show that. This is how you pre-frame all those objections. So once that package is done, it's an opportunity to share with them your actual pre-marketing. Coming soon, private exclusive, the video generator. If you're not using digital ads, it is a huge miss, huge miss. It's like putting money in a jukebox, because the more money you put in, the more clicks you have and the more online showings. That's the next big pinnacle meeting that you can set prior to the home going on the market. You can review the insights report. And additionally, you could say, hey, would it be helpful for you to know how many online showings you have, exactly what buyers are doing when looking at your listing, down to the types of devices they're searching on? They're going to say yes. And that's when you could go through the insights report. Remember, the clicks are online showings. Ad views is the number of buyers that saw it. And the time on listing is where you do that stopwatch trick and everything else. And then you're able to ask them the question, hey, if we've had 1,142 online showings, and you see the exact time that buyers are spending on the listing and what they're doing, how come you don't think we had any showing requests? And let it sit in silence. Because at that point, they're going to tell you it's the price. But again, you don't have to do anything, but this is building your momentum and building this to be an actual experience for somebody, that they see that all the details are done. Then when it comes to launching it, your open house collateral, your broker open house collateral, how you're going to email market, how you're going to social market. And by the way that you share these messages across different platforms should be different. Stop putting your entire listing description in emails. The whole point of marketing is to share some sort of experience or something about the home that makes people excited to see the rest of it. And the way that you share something on social media is very different than the way that you should be sharing something through email. The way that you communicate with an agent should be different than the way you communicate with a broker. So if I was writing this to a broker and I was in Manhattan, I would say Upper West Side, 2-bedroom, under $1 million, because that's how they think about their clients. Right? If I was writing this to a group of clients, I would say, Upper West Side, 2-bedroom, walking, located in the West Village, because that's how they think about it. Social media, I'd share a story. And I'm just going to pivot for 1 second. We all want clean email lists, and we don't want to be known for sending spam. Stop emailing every agent in your database all of your stuff. They don't care. And there are people that don't know how to do this. Do you know there's somebody, I wish I could share my Compass inbox without humiliating people, but I can't exactly do that. Do you know there's one woman yesterday? She sent me 7 emails, 7. And 5 of them were price reductions. What do you think that tells someone that you don't know how to price a home? And if you're doing this, you're stealing time from people, because either I have to take the time to delete it or my assistant does, and both of us could be doing something different. You want agents to know you for adding value and to build relationships. I don't know what world you think, if I live in Westport, Connecticut, that I care about something that's happening in Texas or Chicago or Raleigh. Yeah, sure. If you're my individual client and you're sharing your stuff with me for feedback, fine, that's one thing. But people are sending this stuff out to everyone and they're sending 5, 6 different emails to the same list. What does that say about who you are, how organized you are, and what you're trying to do? It's not great. And if people want to engage with you, they don't want to unsubscribe to your email. So please be responsible about this and take the time to clear out your inbox. The next thing in your seller checklist is how do you document feedback, the number of showings, updating collections on a regular basis, which is really your commentary on the market, and insights reports, and scheduling those weekly communication calls. Those are all the things that you do during. Then the next thing you want to put in your checklist is how do you review offers? When you get offers, what's the process? And this came up in a conversation yesterday. If you don't tell your clients in advance that offers can fall through and what are the reasons and that it happens, then when the offer doesn't go through, who do they blame? You. The other thing is you should build into this checklist the pre-inspection process you have of sending an agent an email that has all the information from the equity protection plan and just reminding them that says the offer, before you made the offer, we shared this information and let you know that you're making an offer based on all the conditions of the home that you saw today visually, as well as what's in here. I just wanted to send this to you so you could send it to your client, as well as share it with the home inspector, as our client is not negotiating things that have been fully disclosed. If there's any issues with major mechanicals, mold, asbestos, or things like GFCI outlets that should be functional, those are things that we're happy to discuss. Shrug. That should be built in there. The offer process should be built in there. Your appraisal process should be built in there. When something goes into contract, what do you do should be built in there. What's the communication after the contract? Remember, we're in the process of helping people move. So at what point do you tell them to organize vendors and moving trucks? What do you do for the final walkthrough? How do you ensure that the place is broom clean? Because final walkthroughs where people are expecting a clean place where they paid an overpriced premium and they go there and the place is a mess, that's when all the emotions kick in and everyone wants to renegotiate their deal. And then throughout this, you're going to look for every email and every gap that you can humanly fill. And then after, when it closes, you send them a closing gift. When they move, do you update your CRM with their new information? Send them a handwritten note, send them a gift. How do you stay in touch with them? And then ultimately, at what point in this list do you extend the relationship and let them know that you are going to stay in touch with them after the fact? And that soup to nuts, my friend, is building a predictable client experience. We have a sample checklist for you to work off of. Now, networking within the group is something that you said a lot of. So literally for the next 6 months, we have like a CSC day where we're going to plan a month in advance and have you guys go meet people, meet in offices, and everyone get together and we're going to do some cool, unique training. But having you all have the ability to learn from each other is really important. Collaborative learning wins. And the idea that someone works in your office is that's the reason you don't want to work with them is a very limiting belief. Because one day you could need coverage, you could need help, you could need support, and that could be the perfect person for you to do that. You guys can then partner on deals together where you might cover one area, they might cover another. It's like dating. Like me and my brother could be next to somebody and the other person is going to choose on what they feel is right for them based on their interactions, their engagements, and their communication. So take a pause. So does anyone want to lead a group in building out predictable client experiences? And if you're a leader from yesterday, you can't nominate yourself twice. Person, can we open up the chat? Got it. So who would like to nominate themselves to be a leader? I could play the Jeopardy song now. Okay. So Joyce and Jim, yeah, you should work with your team, but you could also work with other people. If you have a team, this is the perfect thing to do together as a team leader. So Jim and Joyce, you two exchange emails as you'll coordinate together. So if you would like to join one of these groups, put your email in the chat right now, and they will reach out to you as they organize them. So the way it works is Jim and Joyce, you get on a call, you figure out the cadence, the framework, how you want to do this, and then you guys send an email out to everyone who wants to join. So don't write me, Heather, put your email in so they can actually email you. And this, my friend, is how you build agent relationships, friends. And we'll give Herson, we'll make sure to put a copy of the chat in. So now what do you do as a group? You take the checklist we have as a point of reference and you start filling it all out together. Make these groups your own. This is an opportunity to test your leadership ability. So we'll let these names flow in, and then I can give you guys back for a few minutes in your day, and you guys all can get started. The first thing you all need to do before even time blocking anything to do this is go into your CRM and stop sending people spam, please. Yeah, I see Cherish Hope very happy about that. There's no point in doing this. You're just going to ruin your reputation. Who wants to send an agent a lead or a referral that this is the way that they communicate with people? It's bad. It's like the worst. There's like 100 emails a day I have to delete like this. It's crazy. And some of these people are clients and they've heard this before, which is even crazier. If I had the time, I'd reply to everybody. All right, everybody, and this is how the magic happens. So here's what you guys need to do. Everyone needs to go buy a large Post-it note, right? The ones that you can stick on the wall. Then you're going to break it down to before, during, and after, and you could use the checklist that we attach as something to get started. Anyone have any questions, comments, concerns, excitement? Look, everybody, this is how we're going to dominate the competition, because together we can always be more. You all have the ability to learn from each other and expand what's in your own capacity and experiences. Stop selling yourself short to only your own thoughts. There's hundreds of people in this community that want to connect. So go be a leader, go engage, step outside your comfort zone, go make the magic happen, create predictable client experiences, and understand in the world where you have to sell your value proposition for your paycheck, you're 1,000 steps ahead of everyone else that's not even thinking about this and just living in comfort. So you can go through the discomfort of making your own choice, or you could go through the discomfort of when the world makes the choices for you. And the choice is always yours. So as always, with love in my heart, I love you all. By the way, there's like a webinar, I think, starting in like 5 minutes on travel points. This is the craziest thing I've ever learned about in my life. And if you're into points and traveling, literally, you can travel to some of the best locations, first class, business class trips, all through the points that you normally spend. This company will show you how to do it on your own, or they have a service that we use where they'll literally analyze your credit card statements and say what cards you should use for which service that you spend on. I got recently, I think it was like 30 some odd $1,000 in free plane tickets through points. And it wasn't even like an astronomical amount of points. So there's a whole world out there that you can actually travel for free based on your business spending, because a lot of us spend tons of money on a credit card over a year throughout our business. Like if you look at Amex Gold, you can get 4 times the points for certain categories. So we had an agent years ago that got them to shift their Zillow spend to marketing. She was spending 20 grand a month on Zillow. She was getting 80,000 points. So she got almost 1 million Amex points a year that allowed her to travel like crazy. Hotels, first class flights. And the more you go in advance, the better it is. So check your email for that invite. And I highly, highly, highly suggest you join. It's like one of the best things that you could do for yourself. Personal note, I think it might be recorded. I'm not sure. So as always, love in my heart. I love you all. I hope you guys have a powerful day. Take action, be uncomfortable, follow your time blocks, live your schedule. The promises you make to yourself are the most important ones. So I'll see you guys all soon, and look forward to hearing about your successes, and go hop on that travel webinar. Bye, everybody.